My blog was started in 2012. Before then, I was a writer, but in my own capacity. I used to write short stories, etc. for friends. I wasn't trying to share them anyway. And I also tried my hand at a fashion blog, but I realized I didn't like it enough to keep it going. So I've always been intrigued by online spaces wherein to launch my creativity. But it would only be once I was in the Lord Jesus Christ that I would then really start to be serious about honing my craft and expanding it, exploring it. And so therefore getting taken seriously by an audience. While initially the intention was not to monetize my blog, just to share the word of God. Once my blog got big, gargantuan, I would have started getting like emails and from like sponsors and advertisers, and I would start also getting emails from WordPress itself saying, don't you want to monetize? Don't you want to monetize? And so I would have realized that, oh my goodness, this is going to actually be a second stream of income. And so I was going to get Google AdSense on there and all that jazz, and so therefore make money from writing. At some point, my blog was going to start to become a second stream of income. I was going to learn that you can monetize writing. It was never my intention at first. I never got to a point where it got that big, but I would later on learn. I only started YouTube because of persecution. I was writing in my blog and I felt like that was not big enough a reach, so I wanted an audiovisual space. And so I entered into YouTube and started a channel over there. If at all I had never been persecuted, would I have started a YouTube channel? Chances are I would have. Because the fire in my heart and the passion for Christ and also craftiness, just talking, not only that, but creating has always been in me. So my blog was never going to be enough for me to stay in. Ultimately, upon this here space, that was my blog. It growing, I was going to somehow, somewhere get introduced to the space of YouTube. It would have ultimately been brought to my attention as another prospective space wherein to share my ideas. Though it likely would not have started in 2014, but it would have at some point started. I don't think I would have ignored YouTube indefinitely. But initially, it was just writing that I was doing. YouTube only came about, I will repeat this, because of persecution. Okay. So I would then start a YouTube channel later on in the future, maybe 2016, 17, I don't know. And it would have grown gradually, 1 subscriber, and I would have learned the craft, figure out what to do, shorts, all that which helps you grow a YouTube channel. And then gotten to a point where, given that my voice would have been poignant, important enough, and reaching enough, and so therefore people willing to listen to what I have to say, I would have amassed for myself a handsome amount of subscribers until YouTube just sent me an email to get on their partnership. YouTube would have then sent me an email to get on their partnership program. And I would have then realized once I got to that space that, oh my goodness, I can monetize here too. And I was not going to say no to money. I was not going to say no to another stream of income. So I would have been an employee in corporate South Africa, growing from grace to grace, continuing to, I guess, build my career. Wherever I would have been. I was trying to become a management consultant. I wanted to get out of project management and program management. I found myself nice and bored over there. So at some point I would have transitioned over to a new career, but without pay cutting. And for me, that would have been management consulting. So I would have ultimately worked for some other company, IQ Business, Deloitte, whatever, and grew from there my career. I don't know. I had ambitions to start a business, but I didn't know in which field. So it was not going to happen immediately. I was probably going to stay in my corporate career well into my mid to late 30s, because I had too much fear, I was too risk averse to leave a comfortable permanent salary per month for these wild streets of entrepreneurship. But I did have wild ideas of entrepreneurship at some point. But like I said, I was risk averse. At some point, I would have probably left corporate South Africa. But like I said, maybe in my late 30s, I was not going to do it ever so immediately, especially considering I didn't know what and where, in what space. But creativity in my blog would have given me a stream of income that would have made me realize that there is money I can make in this space. And it would have ultimately gone to such a lucrative amount of money that I would have realized that I can comfortably leave my job without facing loss of an apartment, loss of whatever. Likely I would have even been married, okay, but I don't know. If I didn't lose my job, I would have probably met somebody all up in the streets of where I was at that was a God-fearing man, and the two of us would have been in a nice little sunset together in the chariot of fire of Elijah into the future, and not face all these damnable heresies trying to kill us all the day long. If censorship did not come on us pouncing like a beast in the wilderness with no rules, okay, I would have realized that there is money to be made on the online space in writing. As a result of my writing, I would have likely been introduced to YouTube. YouTube would have at some point, because listen, I'm compelling, I feel like I am. YouTube would have at some point sent me an email to join the partnership program, upon which I would then realize, oh, I can make money here too. I would have then said, okay, fine, I'll join it. Then, because now I'm monetized, I'm getting money every month, I would have been salivating after more and more subscribers and more reaching content. I would have honed my craft and chiseled it and gotten better and better over time. Listen, it's happened in this space, but underground, nice and shallow, being dealt a bad blow by crazy people who think I am a side chick in the making. And so with all this like ridiculous activity, I have, however, created quite the excellent YouTube channel. Listen, it's a thing. Anyway, whatever. I am not being viewed though, because we're living in a dystopian nightmare out here giving dark ages 24 hours a day. Very well. I would have ultimately started a YouTube channel that would have gotten monetized. Upon it getting monetized, I would have improved my skills. I would have likely had channels across, not channels, but social media across multiple platforms. Initially, I would have likely started on YouTube, then seen that I can branch out to Facebook. I would have, of course, started on Instagram, even though I wasn't a fan in the beginning, because I'm an oldie, right? So I'm a millennial / exennial. So I'm that Facebook girl. Instagram just did not attract me. And still to this day, I don't get the point. Yeah. I feel like a geriatric that way. Moving on. I would have started Instagram likely just out of like social media pressure. Being a content creator, I would have felt like in order for me to be relevant, I gotta have an Instagram. Of course, TikTok, I would have exploited that. If anything, I even know about all these platforms, especially TikTok, precisely because content creators kept on talking about this place called TikTok. As a content creator myself, and I was like, I went there. I tried, and then they censored me. Look at that nasty, beastly, like despotic, deep state of an occult Illuminati, one eye symbolism, Freemason trash bag thing doing a thing in the streets. Anyway, whatever. Okay, yeah, I left TikTok because it was just not worthy for me to carry on there. I also left Facebook, but I'm just giving a hypothetical situation as to what would have happened. I would have amassed for myself subscribers on YouTube. If there was no censorship, people would have liked my message. I would have always kept the Charlie Kirk nuance in me. I would have been this Christian, however, that's quite political. I would have been a Charlie Kirk female version. A Charlie Kirkess. Amen. Okay. I would have been a Kirkess, and so started my own little thing. And over time, because of how big I would have grown, I would have even had things like moderators on my channel. In live chats, I would have done things like lives. I would have all these things that y'all be doing. I would have invested more and more. And I would have likely, I wanted to start a business, but I didn't know in what. It would be me losing everything as a child of the living Jesus Christ. It would be me losing everything as a daughter of Jesu, a daughter of the Father in the sky. Yeah, he who you call the sky daddy. It would be me being a child of the living God that would ultimately make me realize that if I want to be happy in a career, do what you love and you will never have to work a day in your life. Yes, I loved management consulting and I wanted to do it, and I probably would never have stopped. Listen, I would have always loved consulting. I love fixing things. I love correcting structures. I love giving advice. I love bringing things that are dying back from the precipice of death. I would have made for a most excellent management consultant. I don't know if I would have left that career, but I also don't know if I would have started a consulting agency. I might have, I don't know. Because listen, I've always been a suit. I've always, corporate. A lot of people are just saying that corporate is the thing that they have to do because nothing else pays the bills. But I loved corporate. I was a suit, but I don't know if I would have had the bravery. I don't know if I would have had the energy in the bones. Listen, I loved that craft so much that I don't think I would have left it. So I think that it would have been a side hustle, writing, and it would have also been a side hustle, YouTube. I never would have left that career, and I likely might have even, given that I would have realized that there is a stream of income feasible to be made on YouTube, I would have likely grabbed my professional skills and started a YouTube channel in them and given people advice on there. That's what I would have done. I don't think I would have ever left corporate. I would not have stayed as an employee, but I would have stayed in corporate as an employer. I loved that space. It was made for me and I was made for it. And one day in the future, I will likely go back to it, but as an entrepreneur, in and of myself running my own thing. A boardroom lady. Listen, it suits me. Anyway, whatever. So granted that I would have then started these YouTube channels, I would have, like I said, I would have amassed for myself subscribers. We don't know if there was no, listen, this is in a utopian world where there's no censorship. I feel like I'm compelling enough. Perhaps I've got delusions of grandeur, we don't know. But I feel like I'm compelling enough to amass for myself millions of subscribers. Organically, if at all, we were all allowed to grow organically. I feel like my message was compelling enough because, did Charlie Kirk not amass for himself all those millions of people? But Charlie Kirk was also, his personality was such that he could speak to sponsors and brokers and all different kinds of donors and people and like rub shoulders and speak at rallies. Okay, I said I'm Charlie Kirk. Yes, no, I didn't have Charlie Kirk's personality. I was too shy. I was too withdrawn. But I did say, not withdrawn. Withdrawn is a very strong word, but I'm kept to myself. I did say, however, that I sought the Lord's face for a husband. And I feel like my husband would have been like Charlie Kirk, more outspoken, more out there, more willing to knock on doors and tap on shoulders, more willing to be a paradigm shifter in the country, willing to go from pillar to post, visiting youth everywhere, to try and change a narrative and even try to talk to the government. My husband would have been that thing, and I would have been the wind beneath these wings. I, however, would not have been outspoken enough to truly be a Charlie Kirk. While I might have been a suit, I was kept to myself. I'm an introvert in the worst way. I'm an INFJ personality. I can be amidst people and have a house on fire conversation, but I always feel drained by large crowds. So I could never, so I create myself. I never would have succeeded to be a Charlie Kirk, but I would have succeeded to be the wind beneath a man like him. But when it comes to ministry online, in the online space, like I said, my personality is such that I'm shy amidst people. But when I come here, I'm free like a bird. So people might think of me as quiet and shy out there. They might think that. And then when they watch my content, they'd be like, where is this person? Where have you been all this time? I already shared that, right? So my husband, I would imagine, would have been the kind of man that would have been more outgoing than me. And so been able to take me to places that I would have under normal circumstances not gone to myself. And I would have only ever been comfortable because I would have been shuffling around and next to him all the day long. And then ultimately open up like a flower because he is the avenue to enable me to open up like a flower everywhere where I went. So I sought the Lord's face for that force in my life, and I'm still waiting for it. Okay, yeah, because listen, it's coming, like Salsi. It's okay. Iyaza circumstance, lalela iyaza. When you bring like a gunshot wound. Alrighty, it's coming like a projectile. So, however, on YouTube, my personality would have been exactly what it is. I may have had a space with my husband, but I would not have met him likely yet for him to be the one with whom I would start a ministry. But once he came into my life, he would obviously be frequently paraded over here because I would do everything with my dude. Is that basic? I would never ever have my own thing and people not know who my dude is. Anyway, yeah, I would have then gotten all of these subscribers, grown organically, and so therefore won the attention of people that would have wanted to collaborate with me on similar issues. I would have also been stitched on people's videos, spoken about, commented on based on what I said, agreed with, disagreed with, dissed, supported, reviled, humored, whatever it is that you basically go through when you are a mammoth content creator. I would have been spoken about. Some people would have called me a heretic, others would have called me a false disciple. There is no child of the living God that does not have somebody calling them something that they're not on the internet. The bigger you get, you be out here getting people calling you all different kinds of things. I would have had that going on. I would have had people who loved me besotted, and others who are like, oh, I can't stand this chick, I'm not feeling her. But I would have been big enough to have that kind of conversation had about me. But there are people controlling who gets to become that thing. And this here decision that they're making is not based on them being worth the while to listen to, just willing to at least just Satan name. And I'm like, yes, then take your little Satan organization. But if at all you're going to dumb the earth down with people that are happy to sign their soul over to the Illuminati and not so much interrogate, peruse the color that the earth has to offer with all that which is its gorgeous slew of souls that have something to offer. If you won't tap into global opinion from wherever it comes, you're missing out on diversity, okay? And you're missing out on culture, okay? You're also missing out on developable lovely by other countries, okay? And you're also missing out on African good dreams. You're missing out on people. You're missing out on individuals that you're like, whoa, where have you been all my life? Oh my goodness, I can relate with this chick. Listen, preach, sister, speak. Like, word. You're missing out on all that. If at all you are going to cocoon people in front of just an audience of nefarious beasts proliferating satanic agendas. If you're only going to push people that the devil is happy to push because they are leashed to him, you're missing out on African dreams. Yeah, it's giving Vicky Thompson all the day long. You're missing out on people that are really great, but that are not prepared to give their gifts and their talents to an organization that has no regard for human sanctity. Only allegiance. Allegiance does not salvage a single soul on the planet. Allegiance does not salvage a single soul on the planet unless it is to the God of the universe. And the God of the universe would never proliferate the smothering and the shutting up of everyone that does not want to be a Christian. God lets you be. However, hands you over to your reprobate mind. If that's what you want to be out here all the day long doing, do it. But let my children speak. So Satan wants only his agenda, while God is happy to proliferate all of yours insofar as you leave Christians to proliferate theirs. That is how fair our God is. That is how the Lord lets you be, though he highly recommends that you love him. And if at all you cannot stand with a God that is for democracy, for human rights, and for free speech, you're going to unleash to a devil that's going to rob you of an African dream. You're going to stand before a God that's going to rob you of international people that you would have met that are from all different kinds of spaces that are really cool, man. Rob you of good people, good friends in Spain, good friends in Zimbabwe, good peoples in South Africa, good individuals in Barbados. You're gonna miss out on good peeps hanging out in Colombia because the global citizenship refuses to let Colombians that are conservative speak to Spanish people and Italians and Australians that are in the same league mindset. You're robbing us of finding all the different nuances of culture on earth. And when you rob the world of the glory that God created in it, on that day you're antagonistic to creation at large. On that day you are selfish, you're greedy, you're monstrous, and you're gnarly, and you must be thrown off a bridge and then salvaged by a helivac. Because we're not trying to kill you. That's what's given. You need to be almost catastrophically decimated with handling, but you're sitting over there imaginative that no such handling is necessary. But I understand that it's a thing. It's a thing. It has to happen. Listen, you gotta be handled like your laundry inside a washing machine at the end of the cycle out here gyrating. You must be handled like that. But people don't know that that's a thing that must happen, but I'm here for them. I'm entirely here for them. I would have been at some point big enough, and I don't know at what rate I would have grown, because listen, even in a space or a climate of freedom of expression being left to do a thing, there is still the challenge of the world-hating disciples. So there is still the challenge of the world-hating disciples. So I still would not have, I would still unlikely have grown at the pace of worldly channels speaking about global matters from a secular vantage point. Because the world will always just pick up bone and gnash their teeth at Christian content. But nonetheless, I would have had a thriving enough audience to be respected by secular podcasters, by men and women in the space that also speak of similar issues, however, from the vantage point of their secularism, whereas I would have been speaking from a vantage point of my Christianity. I would have been sufficiently respected, at least conversationally, just in terms of discourse alone. I would have been respected by peers, though disagreed with. Nonetheless, I would have been awarded an opportunity to be regarded for my ability to contribute to a conversation whether or not you agree with me. And so therefore, found myself not embittered by being left out of a market with all of these barriers to entry. And so therefore, gone to a point where years down the line where my channel is supposed to be also nice and chunky until this guy knows who I am, watch his content, agree to disagree or agree, because I don't always disagree with secular channels, especially when they're talking about things like the danger of artificial intelligence and headed towards singularity. I don't always disagree. Alright? I would have looked at him not with the bitterness in my soul. I would not have felt like I'm substandard and just minuscule in comparison to him. I would have just looked at him on some, okay, he would have just been a nugget of information understanding. Perhaps, listen, I'm a human being and I would have always had a crush on a dude or been attracted to men if they look a certain way. But my attraction does not inspire just my voluminous desire to be pursued, unless a man is truly godly. So therefore, I would have just looked at him as somewhat a cute dude, but then moved on and continued to listen to his content because he is informative. But I was unable to listen to him because I understood that while I got the same ideas at the top of my uneasy brain, listen, you would never look at me, you would never listen to me, and on top of that, you're a hot boy, so I can't stand you for that reason. I got banned. So can you imagine, to my just alarming surprise, when I'm out here dreaming about this guy doing a strange thing to me? And I'm like, what? Brother, oh, dude, man, individual. You're like, you belong to this cult that's heinous, just catastrophic, destroying me life. Listen, how many of you guys belong to this cult? I need to know. Is there any really mammoth content creator that doesn't belong to this cult, to these cults, I can't say no. I won't say no because I feel like it would be unfair to say no. I can't say that every last awesome guy or girl that we can watch the videos of that's got more than 1 million subscribers is obviously a nefarious beast into building the Tower of Babel. He, in particular, is the foreman of this construction project. He's the civil engineer of the Tower of Babel. I can't say that everybody that's got a mammoth channel on YouTube is a member of a cult, but I can question, is there anyone that's mammoth that doesn't belong to a cult? I can't say no. I won't say no because I feel like it's unfair. I feel like there are people that are entirely clean, they're spotless, and because of the fact that they are secular, they're left alone. Because of the fact that they're not Christian, they're left when they don't want to sign a deal with the Illuminati to just keep growing. I feel as if though the ones that are huge, that get really big, that are Christian, are the ones that once tapped on the shoulder off to join this thing in order to regulate them, have got to either say yes or no, and if they say no, they then suddenly get very slow growth on their channels. They then are suddenly left out of the market because they're trying to control the narrative, in particular of Christian speech. They want to control how many Christians speak, and even then they want to, at their leisure, be able to redact them, recant them, and ascertain that there's only so much they can say. Or once they get to a point, they want to be able to control them. I don't know. I can't tell you. I know that there are other content creators that are approached from as early as when they only have 5,000 subscribers because they can see where they're going. Christians. And then they cave, they capitulate. They allow themselves to sign contracts, and then they grow at just virulent speeds. Millions of subscribers in just a year, and you just keep going from strength to strength. You're past the gold plaque now. So proper, since it's your bread and butter, you're hugely disincentivized from walking away from this death cult, but you're not in right standing with God on that day. And since hell is real, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and get lose his soul? I'm here trying to have a conversation with men in particular. I'm not trying to preach men or exercise authority over them. I'm speaking from a vantage point of being a woman abused by them. I'm trying to create a case for myself. I am trying to tell them, listen, you've all held me hostage, and I'm a pretty chick. I'm beautiful. I'm also really smart. I'm catchy. I'm charismatic. I've got like a personality for days. So I'm the kind of chick that one or two dudes in the room would like. But I'm standing in front of a whole bunch of guys that are privy to a beautiful woman suffering and prone to exploitation, prone to exploitative feats, and prone to subterfuge and stealth. Married as some of them may be, they will, seeing as I am at the mercy of their strange cult, thoroughly anticipate that it is all okay to salivate after me, even though I've got my own values. And so also thoroughly anticipate that in so salivating, given that I am as persecuted as I am, I'm actually grabbable and I'm actually havable. Like, I'm actually graspable. But hey, as a side chick, I have been placed before people that belong to a secret society that enables content creators to get mammoth channels if they want to, and that also that also causes the censorship of anyone that gets big that doesn't want to unleash to them. And with me basically being paraded in front of such people as these, given that I'm a Christian and I'm always praying, I get talked about a lot. And if at all I get talked about a lot amidst these secret society circles whose works are thwarted by praying saints. At some point, even people that don't want to watch blocked content creators because you've got a conscience. You know that there are people that they can't allow to speak, and since you don't want to have to look into the eyes of a struggling lady or a struggling dude that can't get anywhere in life simply because they've got an idea, you don't want to watch them. You don't want to see. Y'all think that you can stand aloof to the fact that your cults are destroying human lives because you've been allotted favor. You imagine that insofar as you don't have to look at the faces of people, insofar as you don't have to see the person that your organization is making sure goes nowhere, insofar as you just ignore, because y'all have meetings, right? And in these meetings, either our channels are put on a projector or our photographs are lined up on a boardroom table and we're then discussed as to what this here content creator does and what is the issue that we're dealing with them. They're Christian, they keep praying, they thwart our works. But if you rock up at this meeting as a matter of principle, and if you don't go to meetings, they punish you for something, I don't know, or they regard you as tardy. When you rock up at these meetings, you have to listen to this one here, we feel this way about her, this one there, we feel this way about him. At some point, after enough annual meetings, or at some point after enough quarterly meetings, at some point after enough monthly meetings, however frequently you meet, when there is one person that they just keep on rapping on about, and they're like, she's a real problem, she's gnarly. Now she has started this thing. Now she's out here posting hundreds of shorts. Now she's out here prophesying this thing. This thing that she prophesied came to pass. Listen, this woman won't die. Listen, this woman won't give up. She won't quit. She won't do this. She also says she's going scorched earth. She will never take a deal with us. She's too Christian. We can't talk to her. When she keeps on getting spoken about, though you wanted to keep yourself distant and aloof to all the faces that they're hurting, because you're human enough to feel some kind of way about the fact that people's human rights are being eliminated off the face of the earth, and you are on the receiving end of favor by diabolical beasts running the earth. At some point, though you might like to ignore or walk away from, turn a blind eye, and not have to look at the faces of those that don't have your same opportunities because they did not cave. At some point, when one person is always just been spoken about as this frustrating feat, I missed your voice, I missed your girls. Largely, these meetings are missed men, but I would imagine they also bring in content creators just to basically brief them on what's going on. And that's why I keep on getting watched by celebrities. I keep on getting watched by, it's like they parade us to show pretty much an example. This is an example of what happens when people don't want to sign with us. Listen, the world is too dangerous a place to let people just keep running their mouths. They could start riots, they could start revolutions, they could transform countries, they could stage coups. So we can't just let people talk. And then they feel like they're building the world. Like I said, there is a way that seems right to a man, but in the end, it leads to death. They feel like they're contributing to a greater cause. All these secret societies, I mean, like, they don't just let out walk up all nefarious and say to the members that they recruit that we're trying to destroy the world and run it as an antichrist system. Bah, that's it. They're always presented in a very humanitarian fashion, like they're trying to improve the planet. So initially they think they belong to a good cause, but at some point a good cause, when you gaze at it in the eye as being a thwarted Christian that can't speak the things of Christ, honey, on that day you're gonna know that you belong to a nefarious organization. You're gonna know you belong to a nefarious organization, and you also are contributing to the mutiny against the impoverishment of people on earth. You are the thing that is contributing to the barriers to entry of people that are trying to escape tyranny. In their countries, they can't survive, they can't breathe, they can't live. They can't be resuscitated from dying states, and you are a member of all that mutiny. That's what you are. So this guy tried to ignore. He tried to fluff away from it. Just, I'm here for the meeting because I gotta be here, but I can't. Yeah. But you see, God gives us all a conscience. In Romans 1, it is written that thanks to a conscience, we are without excuse when we don't embrace the cross. Thanks to the invisible qualities of God, we are without excuse when we don't embrace the cross. So our consciences are always beating us down. They're heavy like a log. They're a millstone. They're tied around our neck as a noose archer, trying to thoroughly asphyxiate us. Those are consciences. And it is impossible to keep ignoring them on a loop. That's why all occult practitioners, secret society members end up committing suicide. Your consciences wear you out so much, but you don't embrace Christ because Christ is so eliminated in your view. He is so diminished in value in your eyes, thanks to all the twats spoken about him in your organizations, that you can't see him as an option. So because of how inebriated with guilt you are, you end up committing suicide instead of turning to him. He's given very limited value. And I'm here to try and shift that narrative, to drain out all of your diminishing of the value of Jesus Christ, that you might see that he is God, he is girth, he is might, he is splendor, and he's got power to save you out of that nasty cult. Get out of it. For what is a profit of man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul? Get out. He's God, he lives. And money is not the be-all and end-all. My man, like joy and happiness, it is experienced a lot of times amidst poor communities. My hair fellow with their small 2.5 bedrooms and a happy wife and a happy children's set. Like some of the most happiest people on earth don't have much. If you want true joy, and at the end of all that joy, be guaranteed eternal life, and so find happiness indeed, you will get out of these cults and stop trying to look at your big fat chunky mansion and what people will think. What is the profit of man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul? Leave these cults and live in a 2-bedroom house with your wife and raise your children in the joy of the Lord and then inherit eternal life in the end. You cannot, in the acquisition of knowledge of CEOs, knowledge of politicians, having big fat chunky people interviewed on your podcast, you can't, in so facing the loss of all that stuff, let your soul go to the abyss, to Hades, because it's a place. And people who belong to secret societies, all of them are there. All of them are in Hades. So please, allow me the luxury and the pleasure to snatch you, even crazy little soul, out from the flames of hell. Let me succeed to do that for you if that's the only thing I do in this video. Let me succeed to snatch this here rando out from the flames of hell, because when under heaven would I ever have gotten an opportunity to evangelize this here buffoon? Because that's what you are today. So since you're looking at me, I'm talking to you, jailer. Stop calling me a prisoner. Yeah, I'm talking to you, because now I know you be looking at me. Hey! Yes. Anyway, let's move on. Move on, move on, move on. Woo! Okay, my voice is starting to crack, but it's fine. I've done all my singing for the day. We don't need more. This guy got an attack of, no, not an attack of conscience. He didn't want to get an attack of conscience because he's just rolling in that dough. He's rolling in that clout. He's rolling in that infamy of posting a video, and after just a few mere minutes, it's already on several hundreds of thousands of views. And within days, it's out here breaking the internet. He's been rolling in all that infamy. He's rolling in infamy. That's exactly what he is. He is rolling in a most excruciating infamy. And you know what's the weirdest thing? When I first made a decision to start posting hundreds of shorts, and then of course my long form content, the Lord said I'm going to war. And the vision that he gave me of who I'm going to war to was this guy. Yes, he was representing a cult, but I didn't ever imagine that he would look at me. I didn't ever imagine that he would ever look at me. And again, that vision came to me. I haven't watched his content in a very long time. So when then he was presented before me as me going to war with him, yeah, okay, so on that day I kind of knew that he belongs to these cults, but I never ever thought that he would uniquely focus on my particular case. Why wouldn't he? All of your boom bap bastards be looking at me, bruh. All of your nasty friends in these crazy occult streets hanging out with me. So they act like they don't see it. I'm wreaking havoc in all of y'all's lives. Anyway, whatever. So I got all chuffed, but in a very reverse kind of weird, warped way. That he be looking at me. Anyway, that cute dude is looking at me. Christian girls will be out here making like a lava lamp in front of crazy people until don't nobody know why anybody be out here looking at this poor lady, except if you belong to a cult. If a poor lady is wreaking havoc in your life belonging to that cult, you will look at her though she's poor. So this guy is looking at me. Initially, he didn't want to look because he just didn't want to look at anybody that is being afflicted. Because initially, he's trying to ignore his own conscience and bury it in a hole. But then I was spoken about enough times in these circles of theirs of these diabolical meetings where he's likely being made to walk backwards and drink chicken blood. We don't know. Anyway, whatever. He finally, like I said, earlier when I first started having a conversation about this guy, I said curiosity killed a kitty cat. But let me resuscitate you, kitty cat, because I'm a bitch too. Curiosity killed a cat. And now look at this cat dying. I got you in my bag. Hey. Like the Pied Piper of Hamilton, I'm playing you a flute. Oh, I got you. Mr. Big Dude, yeah, I caught you. Remember? Yeah, you thought you caught me, but I caught you, and don't nobody walk away from me once I catch you. So, you're in for the long haul, brother. You're not gonna leave. You're going nowhere. I'm a celebrity that ever out here gaze at my content that is not still every so often coming to check on what's going on with me. They listen to me grabbing their bean bags, their coffee, their marshmallows, and their very cushy shawls. And they just watch part 1 all the way to the end. They can't miss a part. They look forward to my content. And they hope that in so checking out this content, they don't get insulted and offended. Agree and then go on, carrying on. Being a nefarious little occult beast. But they love me like a fat kid loves cake. They love my content, but they're still hellbound because I haven't repented. So seeing as I've caught you in my bag like you is Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon, you're going nowhere. You're spitting here, bruh. You're not leaving though, you may try. You're not leaving, you're coming back. You're gonna be curious, especially considering I spoke about you. So there's no getting out of redemption from here, because now you're sitting in front of the light, and like I said earlier, you'll be beaten with many more blows just by merely sitting in front of the light. Now you be out just sitting like a pauper, out you eating rice underneath the table because you don't want people to see that you stole it. Oh, Oliver, never before has a boy wanted more, but don't worry, I got more for you. I'm here for you, kitty cat. I'm a vet. You were curious and now you're here for life. Now you're in my house. Listen, you're not leaving. You're not leaving in the same way that the celebrity from this country, well, hot boy, is not leaving. They're stranded with me all the day long. They're afflicted near me all the night long. Every video I post, they be scheduling to watch it. Though you got a busy schedule, you will slot me in, yeah. You're not leaving. They don't watch me and stop watching because I speak to souls. I don't merely speak to men. And you got a soul that's out here yearning for redemption, and you are trying to abandon it to the flames because of all the clout you've been awarded by this crazy cult. Listen, I'm here for you, oh soul, on the road to Damascus, hopefully. Okay, Mamela. I don't know what your upbringing is. I don't know if your grandmother done raised you Christian. I don't know if you were secular, pagan, if your mama done taught you witchcraft. I don't know. But one day somebody saw you and figured that, listen, you represent really nicely. You look great, like the devil out here masquerading like an angel of light. For an audience to adore you, so we're going to give you clout. But you got to sign with us. Whatever it is that you were raised in, you ditched it, you abandoned it, you recanted it, and you chose this thing. And I'm telling you, get out or you will go to hell. You don't have to, but it comes highly recommended, and you don't want to be listening to my voice out here trying to snatch you out from the flames of hell for the rest of eternity, because it's a thing. So my melane outie dude from another country. You have an interpreter. Even throughout the parts where I speak to, and you got somebody for here for you, okay? So listen, you couldn't listen to my you don't want to watch me because you don't want to have to deal with feeling sorry or bad for the people that your cult targets, okay? But one day you got curious like a kitty cat, and now I'm making like a veg, trying to make sure that you don't die, because your curiosity is actually going to kill you. You're not going to be able to go back from here. Going forward, your life is not going to be the same. The work you do is not going to be maintained in the same trajectory. You're going to be heavy. You're going to be like a sack of potatoes, a sack of sand, a sack of whatever can actually have anything at all in it. You're going to be carried around like that. Just in the same way that the celebrity from this country is carrying a sack of sand around, but he's trying to maintain himself as a whole A-list celebrity, acting and everything. They're all carrying sacks of sand. They're heavy. That's what that means. They're heavy, and they're either on their way out dying or they're getting saved. But they can't stay wherever they are. The one celebrity from this country that I spoke about, the dude, yeah, he's a married man, and he was trying to make out of me a second wife, whatever. That there, Oki, is deeply cogitating getting a 9-to-5 in corporate because of my content, but it eats him alive because he doesn't want to lose all that infamy. I gave him counsel that start a YouTube channel, you don't have to go to corporate, but he is aware that he can't just start a YouTube channel after leaving his couch and be proliferated on social media. If he leaves his couch, they're going to sabotage him like they've sabotaged me. So he's aware that the only place that he can make proper money is in corporate, but it's eating him alive because he doesn't want to look like a has-been that used to be a star and now he's a regular guy. But what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul? Y'all need to be out here boycotting these monsters to let you be, to give you freedom of expression, all of us on social media, so that even you don't lose your career should you decide to leave this cult. Because that's exactly what the celebrity in this country is dealt with, the cognitive dissonance of. He wants to leave the entertainment industry acting. He wants to leave acting because it's nefarious, it's evil. The roles that he is made to play, they're not gelling with his conviction. But he can start a YouTube channel where he'll do something in his own skill set independently. Do you understand what I'm saying? But he knows that they're gonna thwart him if he leaves the cult. So y'all that have conviction need to boycott this secret society so they will let everybody grow, that you might not lose your precious YouTube channel and its monetization, that you might not have to be a has-been that out here is recovered to corporate South Africa and all that bureaucracy and all that boringness. But no, I would have at some point gained the same kind of clout on social media, seeing as my voice, I would imagine, is worthy of being hearkened to. But I have been thwarted, and so now I'm underestimated by people that would have under normal circumstances regarded me as a peer. Now they think I'm just nothing. But y'all know I'm not nothing because I'm wreaking havoc in y'all's cancerous cult. So one day you gained curiosity and now you're looking at me. Oh, look at that go. And seeing as you're looking at me, at least now you know that I had a crush on you. Oh, look at that go. I thought you were cute, right? Very well. But never in my life would I've ever imagined that you would ever think I'm cute. First time that I saw this guy, I remember thinking, oh, he looks like my ex-boyfriend. Like everybody just looks like my ex-boyfriend. Trevor Noah. And even this guy. Maybe it's because in him there were portions of my ex. I don't know. And I see, whatever. But like this guy, oh cute, this is not even I'm not even trying to talk right now about his cute. I'm trying to explain what I saw in a dream, and I'm also trying to counsel men from not ending up like, not so much like this guy. I can't say ending up like this guy because he has not yet ended up as anything, but he is on his way. He's on a trajectory to end up that thing. I'm out here talking about adultery and what people are trying to do to me in light of it, okay? Listen up, okay? Whew, yeah, okay. It's 1:16 in the morning now, so These days I've been sleeping properly at night, so when it's 1:16, by now I'm snoozing. But let's just talk. What in the world is happening inside you when you're allowing yourselves to watch so much oppression and you think that it's okay to just like keep like that whole thing going? Why is it okay to rob people of love? Why is it okay for y'all to rob people of romance? Like, okay, so all of y'all seated here in these occult organizations, are you so unhappy with your spouses or your girlfriends, yet salivating after poor people, that you cannot let even the poor grab for themselves that which is their piece of joy on the earth? David in the scriptures, and he was a righteous man, which you all are known, but he had an infraction that he walked in. David in the Bible spotted a lady from a terrace, perched as a king at a distance, bathing after her monthly period, her ceremonial bathing after her monthly period. He saw her from a terrace, seeing as his palace was all elevated and perched. Bathsheba, why was she bathing outside? Why did she imagine that she wouldn't get spotted by someone in a loftier building? Why would anybody shower on their balcony? Like the girl wanted to get seen. I'm kidding. It's like these people that out here be raping ladies and say you provoked me because you were wearing a mini skirt. No, I'm sorry. Y'all know I am pro-female rights. Okay, I'm sitting on something here and it's kind of uncomfortable. So let's change the position of sitting. We don't know why Bathsheba was bathing outside. Like, we don't know. She couldn't have been inside. But who in the world showers outside? Now, come on, let's just think about all those things now in 2026. Who in the world takes a shower in the, like, jungle? Anyway, Bathsheba nonetheless was spotted taking her ceremonial cleansing, her ceremonial bath after her period, which was the custom amidst women in those seasons. And David saw her contours, saw her fine body, saw her beauty, and then just decided that I want her. He was just like, I want her. Where it is that David was gazing at Bathsheba from that vantage point, he likely knew, just based on where she was living, what her socioeconomic situation was, who she was likely married to. I don't know if David was aware that that was Uriah's wife at that moment, or if it would come to him later on. I would have to go back to the scriptures to verify that. But just based on where she stayed, he likely was able to figure out that she was not among maybe the elite or whatever of Israel. She was lowly, right? Just a poor chick, or a middle income chick, a lady that is married to a dude that's just making ends meet, you know? He's just getting by every single day based on her living quarters, where she was out to taking a shower outside. And nobody knows why that's a thing. Don't take showers in front of men. You will get taken. Yeah, but peeping Tom be out just finding you all the way out. Our next door neighbor, if you wanted, would be able to peep in and see a person getting out of the shower if he wanted. Every time you get into the shower, you have to slightly close the bathroom mirror to make sure he doesn't watch you, but or she, like it's a family. I shower late at night, so by then they're in the house and their sliding doors are closed. But I often wonder what my little sister and my mom do. The other day I walked into the bathroom and the blinds were completely closed because I think my mom wanted to take a shower without, like, a neighbor, like, is happening upon her nudity. So yeah, sometimes peeping toms can see you taking a bath. If at all your bathroom blinds are not properly closed and you've opened the window, though the window itself is frosted, the silhouette can still stumble a person. So I can't figure out why Bathsheba was bathing outside. Like, listen, now all the logistics of that situation make me question things a whole bunch as to why the lady didn't let herself do that. Anyway, she could have just taken a bucket and gone inside the house. Like, why someone say? Anyway, I don't know if David knew who she belonged to, but he certainly would have been able to gauge just based on where she stayed what a socioeconomic situation was. And David then went and grabbed Bathsheba and pretty much handed her. Some people argue that David raped her. Others say that Bathsheba conceded because he was a king and she couldn't say no. So that is also a form of rape. And others say that Bathsheba low-key wanted him because he was a king, and for her it was like, yo, it's a king, dog, and I think he's fly. So she allowed herself to partake in adultery. We don't know which of these three are true, but nonetheless, it was a questionable situation. It didn't make any kind of sense. We don't know what the level of consent was pertaining Bathsheba, but a sin was committed where a man went and grabbed a woman that was lowly, that however was gorgeous in his sight, that he imagined he could not exercise self-control over. He then summoned her, brought her to his place, laid with her, made a baby with her, and then killed the husband. Long story short, you're going to have to read the story of David and Bathsheba. I'm not gonna expound on it over here. Okay, but what I'm trying to get at, brother, with the story of David and Bathsheba is Nathan's response. Nathan, the prophet Nathan, that there was for the purpose of rebuking David, said this thing that is poignant for me as an important point. Oh, dear king, what would you do if a man had a ram, or is it an ewe, like a small little lamb, that was the only one that he had, while another one that had a whole chunk of livestock went and took that one little ewe or lamb and then killed the owner of that lamb? What would you do to such an individual as that in your kingdom? What would you do to an individual as that in your kingdom, O King David? And David was like, what? I would have him killed. I would have him massacred. I would have him handled a bad blow. Handled like all that laundry in the washing machine at the end of a cycle gyrating. I would handle him that way. That was David, okay? He made a whole spectacle and a feast of balls, a feast of soccer balls just bouncing up and down in these streets about how he would out here ransack a situation. And then Nathan was like, that there crazy livestock having rando that took a little ewe or a ram or whatever from a poor guy and then killed him is you. David immediately understood that Nathan, the prophet Nathan, was talking about Bathsheba and her husband Uriah and all that which he did to acquire this woman that was now in his palace, in his house, as his wife. Listen, go read the story of David and Bathsheba. I'm not going to labor at length. It's not about unpacking it. I've got too much to talk about still to unravel that story. But what's important to understand is that David ultimately got to a place of contriteness or conviction. But then again, David was a righteous man that was not eating demons for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in satanic rituals. So it's easy to come by a conscience, a restored one, a recovered one, as a godly man, that however in the season walked in indiscretions. Y'all get disassociated when you are in the occult. Some of y'all go so far as to partake in homosexual relations, and more so than do you get since you were so satanically, ritualistically abused. Dissociate. Your consciences become seared because you partake in satanic rituals that sear you at that extremity. And so if at all you gaze upon Bathsheba as a man that has got more resources, essentially kingly, and you see a lowly lady who is frankly somebody else's lady, but she got these contours that you be feeling, she got this figure that you be liking, she got these dimples that you be adoring, she got this hair that you be feeling, she got these jewels that you be hanging with, she got this personality that you be jiving with. You want her, but you don't have a conscience, you're seared, you're an occult practitioner. Will you ever recover to the conscience of David to a point of writing Psalm 51?